After Deontay Wilder in New York, okay, for less than 3 minutes, it's now the turn of Anthony Joshua in New York. One was at the Barclays Center and the other one is at the spiritual home of boxing, Madison Square Garden, in the big room. It took Wilder less than 3 minutes to knock out Dominic Breazeale, and boy oh boy did people love it. Everybody's seen that final crushing right hand as Breazeale goes down, boom, he's out. Although people forget, he did actually get up by 10. He was just in no fit condition to continue. So that was a couple of weeks ago, and Wilder loved it. He traded on it. He's calling himself the greatest, most dangerous heavyweight in history. Hey, good luck to him. It was a great finish. So now it's Anthony Joshua's time. We all know he's not fighting Jarrell Baby Miller, the guy from Brooklyn with the big voice who was thrown out because he failed not one, not two, but 3 drug tests before the fight. And in came a man called Andy Ruiz. So can Ruiz pose Joshua any serious problems? Can Ruiz possibly push Joshua until late in the fight into this mythical land where Joshua's critics think he'll start to tighten up, think he'll start to get weary, think he'll make mistakes and leave himself vulnerable? Hey, that could happen. It can happen to any fighter at any point in his career. Is Andy Ruiz the man to do that? I doubt it. Ruiz has already lost a world title fight a couple of years ago. He travelled to New Zealand to take on Joseph Parker. There's a little asterisk attached here. To beat Joseph Parker in New Zealand, you've got to win every round twice and score a couple of knockdowns. So shock horror, Andy Ruiz did not get the decision after 12 decent rounds. So he steps in at short notice to fight Joshua. He still gets about 4 or 5 weeks to prepare. So it's ding ding, Madison Square Garden, 20,000 people. Will Joshua try and finish it quickly? I think he will. Will Joshua try and put pressure on and not do his usual cagey start where he looks for gaps? He's not afraid to get a few rounds, get a sweat up, start to get his body rolling, find his rhythm. No, he will go for it from the very start. Because if Wilder's ringside, and that's been pushed forward, and if Wilder and Joshua becomes the big fight, and I mean a big fight, later this year, Joshua has to do his part. Wilder's done his part, bang, over goes Breazeale. Joshua needs to do something similar, maybe even quicker. Ruiz will try to get through the rounds. He's tricky enough, cagey enough, got a good enough chin. But I think Joshua will be fired up, providing Joshua keeps his head. So he needs to put a lot of pressure on, but at the same time, not become ragged. That's almost like a contradiction in terms. Don't be at all surprised if Joshua, having thrown plenty of right hands and big left hooks to the head, switches to the body. He throws, for a big man, an awful lot of really good body shots. And Ruiz will give him, well, I don't want to be personal, but plenty of body to hit. So that's Joshua to take care of Ruiz and take care of him fairly quickly. Now, in a couple of weeks, we get Tyson Fury out in Las Vegas against big Tom Schwarz, the unbeaten German, who looks fantastic at least. I think Fury will want to get rid of him nice and quickly as well, because he'll want to be part of this gang. So in theory, on June the 16th, we've got the 3 best heavyweights in the world, 3 very dominant heavyweights, 3 very successful and 3 very popular heavyweights, all fresh from wins in about a 4-week period. Where do they go as we go forward? Well, I've got to tell you, if Joshua hits Ruiz on the chin and does a good job, a quick job, a nasty job, a job that will get people screaming, and then if Wilder's at ringside, I've got a feeling that might be the fight we get later this year. Of course, by now, by this point in May, we should have already had the rematch between Wilder and Fury. Why didn't that happen, you're asking? Well, none of us really know, other than Wilder had this option, Fury had this option, and in the middle was the option to fight each other, and they both decided, and their teams decided, to go this way. Hopefully they'll come together. So will Fury get to Wilder before Joshua gets to Wilder? Or will Fury pull some kind of ridiculous cul-de-sac and get to Joshua before Wilder gets to Joshua? You see, it's all about contradictions. It's all about matchmaking, and it's all about timing. And right now, the time is ripe in boxing The time is ripe in heavyweight boxing, especially, and the time is right in America for a couple of massive heavyweight showdowns.